Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Good morning. Smile, you're on camera. Usually I have to tell audiences, smile, it's good for the health. A smile attack is better than a heart attack. I have to make a point. I have to convince them, influence them that smiling is good. But today you have a reason to smile. This camera is pointed at you. So you will have the DVD with you later on. And I hope when you watch it again, it's not with the feeling of regret that, when you look at it again, oh, I wish I could have smiled and, it'll be much better. So thank you so much for this opportunity to be here. So the question often comes up, what distinguishes an average teacher from a great teacher? And I would like to start by saying that the one distinguishing factor, not only whether it's teaching, whatever the area of performance it may be, whether it's athletes, politicians, I don't know about politicians, but the corporate world, business leaders, wherever you see extraordinary performance, you will see it boils down to one thing, and that is passion. Right? So I don't have any answers today because I'm a coach. Coaches don't go with answers. I don't believe there is one single answer which can be applicable to every single person. But what coaches work with is questions. Let me repeat that. In the profession that I've chosen, and I've chosen to be a teacher, and I love working with teachers. I know some people don't, but I love working with teachers. Some people are scared. Some people have their own bad experiences. I'm reminded of this story where a judge, in the morning, he had this, his police officer brought a teacher in the court. He said, she jumped a traffic light. And the teacher was like, come on, it's not such a big offense. Jumped a traffic light. People are committing murders out there. Mujhe school jana hai, I'm getting late. Can you not let it go? He said, no. Teacher in my court today. I've been waiting for this for 20 years. He said, go sit in that corner, take a pen and paper, write down 1,000 times, I will not jump a traffic light again, I will not jump the traffic light again, then I will let you go. So, but I love working with teachers. I know there are some people who don't. They are, for whatever reasons they have, good experiences, bad experiences. My first teacher is a teacher at home, my mother. And she spent almost 35 years serving a single institution. She was the head of the Department of English, later a vice principal of the college. But, a very, very inspiring figure in the family. And to be a teacher, what it means to be a teacher, what kind of commitment it takes, all those things I learned from her. And coincidentally, once she visited a doctor. And I don't know, some doctors have this uncanny ability, unko pata lag jata hai when the teacher is there. So maybe they describe the problem a bit too much or whatever it happens to be.
Not just doctors,
wherever you go, it's okay. So after a few minutes, she described what her problem was. So the doctor said, ma'am, aap teacher hai na? You've been a teacher. She said, yeah, now I'm retired, but I was a teacher for 35 years. So it's a wonderful institution you have here. Mr. Gupta, where are you? No, please be seated. You took me to all the wrong places last night. He took me to the library. He took me to the observatory to read and to look at the heavens, two places where he should never take me, a person like me, because I'm going to spend forever there. So when I reflected back, I thought, wow, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of facilities, what a great institution you have here. And I'm really proud of being here today, and I hope you feel the same way. Is that feeling mutual? Yes? So now, because we are spending 5 hours together today, oh my God, some of you No. We only got a very short period of time. So my intention is this: A, if you can just share a few things to make it a conversation. That's the idea. And second, if with some concrete ideas that I'm about to share with you, if they might be of use, that is the second intention here. And we do this not through any ready-made answers. We do this through a process of questions. Because when we go through coaching, not only in terms of competitive coaching or sports coaching, when we talk about life coaching, and that's what I underwent when I was in the UK, when I shifted my profession because I decided what I was doing for 11 years was too boring. And that's why I decided that it's going to be a new direction to my career. At that point of time, when I underwent coaching, my master coach, he said, Simerjeet, I can give you the essence of coaching in one sentence. I said, wow, I paid 10,000 pounds to listen to one sentence. But anyway, now that I've enrolled, tell me what it is. And he said, coaching is all about asking questions expensive questions, which your wife will ask you for free anyway. Now, in a humorous way, to get my attention, what he really meant was the core of any issue lies at the heart of what the human being is going through, and you don't just uncover it at the first go. It's just like peeling an onion. Layer after layer, you find out where the passions are, where the issues are, where this person is striving to go, what are the challenges, so on and so forth. So I will make it very clear on the screen, on the presentation, during my talk, there are no ready-made answers per se. People say, are there any teaching techniques for the 21st century? I wish there was a list of A, B, and C, and D, because some of the foundations of teaching have been there forever, ever since Aristotle and Socrates and other people, they have started having these discourses and started teaching. The foundations remain pretty much the same. The foundations have not changed much. The environment has changed. So to put things into perspective then, what we need to evaluate here is that the foundations of this profession, of this mother of all professions rather, I hope you appreciate that. This mother of all professions have been similar over the past centuries, but the environment has changed, but the circumstances have changed. I was doing a session with parents the other day in Kolkata, about 700 parents. Parents would enroll their kids in a 2-year program to study for IIT and medical. So we wanted to give a 1-hour presentation on positive parenting, on what is it parents can do to enhance the success of their children. What do you think they can do? Support, okay. What else? What can parents do? Because I'm sure I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, so better warm up. I love my voice, but you're not going to listen to my voice all the time, because I want to listen to yours as well. What can parents do to fuel the success of their children? Listen, okay. Some people are trying to preserve their calories by saying, no, we will not burn our calories. We are not going to say anything. Let's do it this way. Take a deep breath in, please, for real. How do you feel right now? You've just stretched yourself a little bit, and I think from all the input that has been going into effective learning and all that, and I'm not the first person to say it, they've said it for thousands of years, the mind and the body are connected. Right? Wherever you agree with me, I will ask you to raise your hands, please. Your right hand up. Wherever I'm making a point and you feel you agree with it, I like to see a signal from you to make sure that I'm not going into my own dreamy world, that I'm staying here with you. So the mind and the body are connected. Would you agree? Right? And if the body is in a state where it's not feeling good, what are the chances the mind is going to feel good? I think the chances are very slim, very, very slim right now. So take a deep breath in once again. Look at the person sitting on your right and left. Look them in the eye and give them a nice smile. Give them a nice smile and see what comes back to you. You get a nice smile back. So this is like an infection, isn't it? Would you agree? This is like an infection. It's like an infection. And we are spreading these infections in our classrooms daily. We are spreading these infections in our groups daily, right? And then we want to sit and do research on why is the certain attitude prevailing in the classroom. No, why? Because we are manifesting that particular attitude by virtue of our own behavior. Now, why I started by saying, say out loud, it's a beautiful day? Because I believe expectations do shape reality. How many of you agree with that? Our expectations do shape our reality to a strong extent. Some of you might have been shocked when you saw me this morning. Oh, this guy, look at him, look at his age. He's going to tell us how to be better teachers. Come on, this session is going to be interesting. And you are not alone if you feel that way. I was recently invited for an interview by a major TV channel. Very interesting thing happened. Listen to this. Very interesting thing happened. They had not seen my website, because if you see my website, you see my photograph on there, and it's part of the surprise is gone. But they hadn't seen my website. I was introduced through someone. So we spoke on the phone. Agle din subah. Everybody understands Hindi, by the way? Yes? So I'll be mixing in a little bit. So agle din subah, 8:30, we had to go live. We had to go what? Live. And so when you're live on camera, camera's unforgiving, by the way. That's why I said smile. You're all, where is the camera gone? Yes, right here. Hello. So camera's unforgiving. And I thought I was a good speaker until I did a few talk shows and all that. And then the director would say every few minutes, cut, Simerjeet, that's not right, that's not right. Camera's unforgiving. So when I found out it's going to be a live show, hum nervous aa gaye the thoda sa. When I found out a live show, which means you're there with an audience, no, everything's on air. You forget something, you make a mistake, can't cover it up, no edits. So this production team, inka aur mera telephonic conversation hua ki, about what the theme of the discussion is going to be. And if you speak to me on the phone, I do come across, with my voice, if you just you wouldn't put me in this age category. You know, if you haven't seen me before with my having a phone conversation with me, you will not put me in this age category. So I had a good my age category. And you, but you'd seen the website before, no?
No.
Really?
I spoke to you.
Thank you. Thank you then. But these guys assumed Simerjeet Singh on the phone, a very heavy voice, he's going to be a retired army guy or someone, and he's going to talk about motivation and all that. So 8:30 in the morning, I'm walking into the studio, and they ask me, "Sir, us room mein wait kijiye." So I'm waiting in the room, and the producer of this show, she comes in, and you know, there's a certain expression where a person feels a huge amount of self-doubt. So you could see that expression on her face, ki abhi 15 minutes mein this guy is going live. This is my show. I am the producer. Have I made a mistake here? You know, that kind of feeling. But then she asked me, you know, what's your background? Are you a PhD? Do you have a doctorate? Is it Dr. Simerjeet Singh? I said, no, I don't have a PhD. I don't even have an MBA. How come motivation speaking? You know, what's the connection between hotel management and motivation? I told her, ma'am, you know, it could be any profession, and you could talk about motivation. Wherever you're working with human beings, chahe hotel industry hai, it's the teaching, manufacturing paper. Our clients are spread all across, you know, from telephone sector to manufacturing cars to whatever. I said, wherever you're working with human beings, motivation is involved. But she could not get over the fact, for the next 10 minutes, she could not get over the fact what explained to me the connection between your history and your experience with the profession that you've chosen. I said, ma'am, if you look within the box, there is no connection. But we, my friends, are living in an economy which is not thinking within the box anymore. Please be honest with me. Before I was introduced today, how many have actually heard that there is a profession called motivational speaker? Full-time. Full-time, they can, okay, great, thank you. When I came back to India and I left my job, you know, I was at the peak of, well, I'm way past the peak of my career. That's why I was bored with what I was doing. I achieved my goals early. So I thought, no, I can't be a general manager for the rest of my life and just, you know, every year is the same as the one that before. I need new challenges. So I left my job, came back to India. My family asked me, what is that you plan to do? I said, I intend to be a speaker. And the answer is, that's great for a hobby, but how do you plan to make money? Oh, hobby achhi, but what will a motivational speaker do? What is that? Still, so many people in my family don't understand what I do for a living. You know, and that's okay, because they're not tuned into the changes that are happening within this country, within the world economy, and what opportunities it is going to offer for the students, what opportunities it is going to offer for the nation as a whole. And the big question is, are we geared up for it or not? That is the main question of the day. Are we geared up for the changes that are happening all around? Because I read this quotation, I'd like to share it with you. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we are robbing our children of the future. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, we are robbing our children of the future, because the dynamics are continuously changing. Let me give you an example. Would you agree with me so far here? Yes? Now, let me give you an example. I was invited to do some life coaching work with a bunch of engineering students, first semester. And you know, first semester of engineering, there's a lot of pressure. Some of the students are not sure, मैंने सही choice किया है या नहीं किया. Even within the streams, they're thinking, should I have taken electronics? Should I have taken IT? What should I have done? So this was about a 15-20-day program of this life skills workshop. We did an exercise asking students, what are your strengths? What is it you love doing? What is your passion? Just as I asked you in the beginning, is your passion involved or not? I asked the students, what are you passionate about? Because all the research that is coming in now is saying, don't spend the rest of your life removing your weaknesses. Don't spend the rest of your life removing your weaknesses. Find out what your strengths are and capitalize on your strength. There's a lot of research, Marcus Buckingham, Donald Clifton, and all these doctorate guys with Gallup organization, they've done statistical research to find out people who are at the top of any field. Sachin Tendulkar did not become a dentist. A.R. Rahman did not become a painter. They are great, they are excellent at what they do because they precisely discovered what is it they love doing, what their natural gifts and talents are, and to learn to capitalize on them. So in that very interaction, you know, I was giving out the same message. Now, a week later on, there's this young chap, energetic, he's asking me every day for, so what books should I read? Can you tell me the meaning of this word, etc., etc. Very, very hungry, and hunger is the prerequisite for success. As teachers, our job today is to create this desire, the hunger inside them. If that is there, everything else becomes easy. Why is that, when I talk about hunger and desire, why is that? Someone from district Motihari in Bihar. Anyone from Bihar here? Anyone from Bihar? So Bihar se district Motihari se, wo jo pichle jo winner the, kaun banega crorepati ke, he didn't even have a TV at his home. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? I often tell youngsters, this guy didn't have a TV at his home. He used to go to his neighbor's place. But what he had inside him was a burning desire. Uske andar wo aag thi ki, mujhe ye karna, I have to do this. And when you have that burning desire, everything else falls into place. Everything else is secondary, it becomes easier. The job of a teacher becomes easier. The job of a trainer becomes easier when they're able to light that flame inside the recipient of the knowledge. And all the shortcomings are overcome. So this guy used to go to his neighbor's place. He didn't have enough money. Wahan jab ye show dekhta tha, he used to get all the answers right. So the log aas-paas ke iski skills ko dekhkar impress hue, they started sending their children to study. He started making money like that. When he won the prize, an interviewer from NDTV, she asked him, were you not nervous sitting in front of Amitabh Bachchan? Kya aap nervous nahi hue Amitabh Bachchan ke samne baiठते hue? And you know what his answer was? He said, पिछले 2 साल हर दिन मैं अमिताभ बच्चन जी के सामने बैठा था. For the last 2 years, every single day, I have seen him in my mind. That is how strong his desire was. So when the education system, and you being the most important stakeholders of the education system, are able to light that spark, I think everything becomes easier. Getting back to my student, Parvinder. He came to me and he said, sir, I'm not interested in engineering. My parents have enrolled me here, but mera interest nahi hai. My interest kahan hai? Photography, media, animation. I said, wow, Parvinder, this is going to be a sharp change. Your parents may not support you, your peer group may not support you. Are you really sure you want to leave, after having paid the fees, you want to leave a secure career track to go venture into something unknown? He said, sir, I think I will torture myself every single day agar maine ye choice na ki to, if I don't shift now. So I said, you go for it. We had a long conversation, you go for it. I'm quite happy to say, he left, this was in Jalandhar, in Punjab. He left the institution. He moved to Bangalore, enrolled in a new animation and multimedia course. Just recently, I had a leadership seminar in Bangalore. I had invited him. He sent me a Facebook message, sir, I'm now also doing freelance work. Imagine he's in his 2nd semester, the guy is already making about 50,000 rupees a month. In his 2nd semester. Sir, I'm doing freelance work. Aapka koi event ho raha hai, mujhe bulaiye. I will show you my work. There was a small group, even smaller than this one. There were 14, it was a leadership training. So international people from all over the world had flown in. So we were working with a hotel company. So about 14 people in the room, and Parvinder was clicking so many photographs that the people were getting annoyed, a little bit, bas kar ab. So I told them, I explained them, I said, look, please don't be annoyed with this guy. He's just discovered what his passion is. And when he sent that CD to me to have a look at the photographs, I've never looked at myself like that before. I've never looked at a training room or an auditorium like that before, the way that guy has captured it. And if you ask me today, that gives me such an immense sense of fulfillment and joy that I think everything else is secondary. Baki sab kuch secondary hai. If I could help someone tap into their passion and make that a living, what more can you ask for in remuneration? With all the research that is going in to find out what motivates people. Take a guess. In an organization, what motivates people? Self-satisfaction, okay. Now please, we have to be honest here to have a straightforward, honest conversation with each other. Sorry? Praise, appreciation, okay. I will talk about that in detail as well later on, about praise. But okay, let's talk about, we had self, what are the things? Nobody's mentioned money so far. So you can hold the paycheck for 3 months. Your group are very good. They're not going to complain. Nobody said a word about 31 ko jab bhi check milta hai. Wo, that's irrelevant, no? They're being nice. They're being a good audience. They know they're on camera. But anyway, come on, let's talk about it again. What motivates professionals? Challenges, excellent. Challenges for growth, right? Challenges to do something new, absolutely. Challenges inspire us. Why? Challenges help us grow. And growth is the innate desire of every human being. Some of them may not accept it, but at the subconscious level, we all want to be better than who we are. Would you agree with that? We want to grow and become better. What else? So challenges, self-satisfaction. What?
If we get the results.
You get the results. Now that's, do you believe that can be a challenge in teaching? Results ना मिल पाना, time पर ना मिल पाना, जैसे हम चाहते हैं वैसे ना मिल पाना. Do you feel that's a challenge? Yes, very big one. Yes. How many of you agree with that? That's a big challenge. And I've got a metaphor to address this. Right opposite my house, there's a park. Not very big one, medium size. And it's been neglected for the past 6 months or 1 year. So it was in terrible condition. So Residents Association, I'm an active member, we had a meeting. I said, okay, I take responsibility to look after this park. You know, if I'll hire the gardener, I'll do the supervision, whatever it is. The most profound lessons in life, my friends, I have learned in the past 6 months being a gardener. Most profound lessons. Here's why. We planted so much, and it's been 6 months. Hey, where are you? You need water every day. Come on, I can't miss you for a single day. I'm in Bangalore, I'm calling home. Mom, वो gardener आया था, वो plants को पानी देगा कि नहीं? कहते बेटा आज तक घर के plants को तो पूछा नहीं आपने. Garden के plants का पूछ रहे हो कि what is happening? Why? A, I've taken on a challenge. Would you agree? I've taken on a challenge, public challenge. I'm going to do this. I want to do this. So one, the challenge is there. B, there's this desire, ये vision को achieve करना. That's there. And but the main learning out of this whole exercise is this: that for you to, and I look at, so the whole perspective has changed the way I look at things. When I see a tree, and I was, Mr. Gupta, where are you again? Yes, while you were showing me around yesterday. On your campus, you have very huge ficus trees. And ficus usually, you know, to grow that big, it takes very long. I didn't even know about the plant names, anything before I said yes to a challenge. Question is, are you saying yes to challenges or not? We only grow when we say yes to challenges. Of course, it's unknown territory. Simerjeet Singh, hotelier, now speaker, now wants to be a gardener. Right? It's unknown territory, no experience, risk of failure, risk of embarrassment. But you're going to grow in terms of your knowledge and everything when you take on board a challenge. Right? So looking at that tree, which has been around for 10 or 11 years, it's how we look at things. That's really important. That's why I said, once again, take a deep breath in. Put your right hand up in the air and say, it's a beautiful day. Now, I know some of you like, that's not going to work. Once again, take a deep breath in and say out loud, it's a beautiful day. So the reason I keep insisting is because your expectations shape your reality. Getting back to the tree once again. It's how you look at things that makes a lot of difference. So when I see a tree which is full, it's big, it's grown, it's healthy, it's big, the lesson that I'm learning is this. Someone somewhere planted it long, long ago. Someone has been looking after it for a consistent period of time. This did not just happen like that. I think the same thing with teaching as well. You don't see the lessons, you don't see the fruits of your outcome, of your inputs immediately. It takes a lot of time. That's one of the biggest challenges I feel I as a speaker and a coach we face. You know, we put in all of our very best, we're not getting what we want, and we slip down on our intent to do that. Never. I don't think if you don't listen to A.R. Rahman's music properly, A.R. Rahman is not going to say, no, yaar, come on, yaar, log mere music ki izzat nahi karte hain, I'm not going to compose music like that anymore. No, he's going to do it because he loves to do it, right? And that will come automatically when it has to come in, right? Am I making sense so far? Yes? So I believe, the reason why I've got this on the screen, learn and lead, is that I believe teachers are leaders. Both team players within an organization, part of a team as well, but in their individual role, teachers do the job of being a leader. Now, with my interaction with the corporate world, what I focus on is leadership training, right? Because I believe leadership of an organization is the single biggest determining factor for its success. Single biggest. People at the top of any hierarchy, if you're in the classroom, you're at the top. If I'm here with you right now, I'm influencing you, so I'm in a leadership position, right? I'm influencing you. That's what leaders do, they influence others. Gone are the days when we had leadership by fear or leadership by intimidation. In other days of leadership by invitation. Let me make the difference clear between the shift that has happened. Earlier psychology was leadership by Leadership by intimidation. Now the paradigm is leadership by invitation. Intimidation versus invitation. Invitation says, come, let's go on a journey. It doesn't say, no, if you don't come with me, I got a danda with me. Now that's easy. But even the government is outruling that now. The new changes to the RTI Act and so many things. I know it's going to be difficult, but it's a paradigm shift that is happening. We are living in the era of knowledge workers, but we are still using the mentality of the manufacturing age. Let me make this from the economical shift that has happened. Let me please elaborate on that. The last century was considered the century of scientific development. Okay, what else? The century that's gone by, production. Thank you. I'm looking for a word that starts with M. IT, I think, has become more prominent in this century. The last century that's gone by, management, manufacturing. Thank you, sir. Manufacturing. Henry Ford model, where one person used to create a whole car. They said, no, you just stand here, belt के आगे आपसे सामान आएगा, आपका काम ये सिर्फ ये 2 नट बोर्ड लगाना, that's it. अपना दिमाग फैक्ट्री के बाहर रख के आइए, दिमाग अंदर नहीं लाना, यहाँ सिर्फ हाथ पैर लेकर आओ, put the nut bolts, create the car, we give you money, for the rest, you spend the money so that you stay busy, don't cause trouble for us, and that's it, chutti. No strike, no nothing, no higher aspirations, nothing. That was the factory model. Worked excellent in the last century when we needed mass production at cheaper costs, right? A shift happened then. Give you an example. Facebook. Company valued at, take a guess? Company valuation in terms of numbers. Take a guess, because this is interesting. We are living in this, we are being influenced by these forces, and I think we are doing ourselves and this country a disservice if we don't know what the shifts are happening. Take a guess of the worth of the company. 30 million? 230 million. Peanuts, sir, peanuts. He would buy an apartment for that kind of money. Mark Zuckerberg would. 80 to 100 billion dollar. Can you imagine? I don't know how much that is in rupees. 80 to 100 US billion dollars is the valuation of the company. I was working with finance people recently. So I asked them, I said, bhai, ye batao, ye 80 to 100 billion dollars hai kahan? Where are they? Show me the building that is worth 80 billion dollars. Show me the assets that are worth 80 billion dollars. And they've changed even the way conventional accounting works. Anyone from accounts, finance background? So they've changed even the way you look at it, they've changed that. What do we put on the balance sheet that is worth 80 billion dollars? Getting back to what I was saying, 80 to 100 billion dollars, where are they? I mean, what generated this wealth? Think about it. Shares? That was just this year. Just this year he launched the IPO. What created all that wealth? And what can your students learn from this? And what do we need to know as educators? Clients came later on. Goodwill came later on.
Participation
Of
thoughts.
getting close. What created this immense wealth? A world's youngest billionaire at age 23. Networking came afterwards. World's youngest billionaire at age 23. We'd like to have people like that in this country, yes or no? You'd like to have your alumni like people like those, yes or no? We need that in this country, yes. So we need to know what created that. Thank you very much. You said idea? Can we give a big round of applause for that? No, first of all, she said idea, an idea, but that's not a big round of applause. I have a very simple rule in life. या तो कुछ नहीं करना है मत करो. This is a free country. कुछ करना है तो please दिल लगा के करो. Yes. Thank you. So an idea is what distinguishes, what created all that wealth. So we are living, I have a full program for entrepreneurs. It is called Welcome to the Imagination Economy. We're living in the imagination economy where ideas can generate wealth. Where ideas are creating money. I was just talking to yourself, sir, last night, about after going into the Space Center, having a look at Saturn and all that. My young niece, she wants to be a NASA astronaut. But there is a man who has spoiled her plans. That man's name is Elon Musk. He's a South African entrepreneur. He has privatized the business of sending people into space. NASA, on its own, does not have the capability, nor does it want to retain the capability to send people into space. This is the first time on the history of this planet, something as critical, which was only previously done by governments before, is now being done by a private entrepreneur. 34, 35-year-old guy, no experience in space technology. No experience is a good thing, it turns out, in some cases. I'll come to that later. Please remind me. No experience previously in space business. He's making money out of what? Could you imagine this 10 years ago? He would create an infrastructure where the space shuttle, they're saying, okay, NASA, you give us $10 billion, we're going to send your people in space, and we will spend $6 billion on that, make $4 billion profit. So these are the times we're living in, and these are the times we are preparing our students for. So the question is, are we geared up to these changes? That is the main message I'm bringing here. That is the crux of the main thing. So second thing I talked about, I just touched upon, I'd like to elaborate, is what they call the curse of knowledge. They call what? Curse of knowledge. Why is that so many new fields are being penetrated by people who have no formal training in that domain earlier? And this is happening now. Earlier, you had a prerequisite, ye karna hi karna tha. You need to have this certain qualification. I think in many fields, still it is highly regulated. Would you agree? But in other fields, there are places where, the domains are being challenged by those people जिनको पहले उस field का experience नहीं है. So अगर experience नहीं है, तो क्या है? Really? Okay. Money, of course, is once the thought comes in, then the next, coming into the real world, that is the next requirement. But if the thought is not there, I've seen with people who don't do anything with their money. But I've seen people also who've got the thought, they didn't have money, they generated the money from somewhere, Why are people without the curse of knowledge are penetrating into new fields?
They have a passion to do something different.
Now, because, here's why. They do not have the conditioning that comes with being in that profession for too long. Because change is happening at such a rapid pace. If you got a conditioning of any certain thing for a very long period of time, somehow in these times it's making you a misfit. So, any questions so far? Anything you would like to share that comes to your mind that connects with what I'm saying?
Do you think open-mindedness is the key for...
Absolutely. That is where learn and lead, because in all the research that's been done on leadership, they found out who are the top leaders. And they found out one key attribute that the top leaders have is this. They're open to new ideas. They may not say yes to every new idea, but they're open to listening. They're curious about ho kya raha hai yaar? Abhi changes kya ho rahi hain? Aage kya hone wala hai? They're curious. And they would listen to anyone. McDonald's burgers, for example. 2 ideas that the company used which changed the way efficiency dramatically. If you ever notice, everyone in McDonald's is wearing a headphone. Yahan pe wo mics, they have this headset on. This idea came from a $5 per hour employee, basic grassroots level employee, who said, बातचीत 2 लोगों में नहीं होनी चाहिए जब इतना बिजी होता है काम. एक पर्सन दूसरे से बातचीत कर रहा है, वो सबको सुननी चाहिए. Everybody should listen to it. Idea was implemented, companies improving its efficiency. So yes, the common trait, open-mindedness to new ideas, the ability to change, the ability to move outside your comfort zones. Why was it Rajiv Gandhi's tenure? They said, we want to bring in computerization. Why did we have mass strikes everywhere? The lack of the flexibility to change, the fear of change. अब 5 साल रह गए रिटायरमेंट है, मुझे कंप्यूटर सीखना पड़ेगा. वो उसको में रजिस्टर में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? हम नहीं सीखेंगे कंप्यूटर. धरना, स्ट्राइक. आप हमारी छुट्टी कर दोगे बाद में. कंप्यूटर करेंगे हमारी जॉब. The fear of what might happen with the change. छुट्टी किसी की नहीं हुई. जो रह गए बाकी, they had better careers. Computerization eventually came. They could not resist. But the question is, resisting change or being open to change? That's one of the things. So this is one of the key factors, because change, my friends, is happening at a very fast pace. Who would have predicted a person with no political connections, no political experience, and a black American could be the president after being a senator in 7 years straight? That's United States. We've got tons of examples within this country as well. Tons of examples. Anything could happen. So this is the first attribute, I believe, when we consider the role of teachers as leaders. I think the first role is that leaders learn. Leaders do what? Learn. They're open to learning. They're open to change. They want to acquire information. They want to find out what is changing and how we can not be a victim to the curse of knowledge. Because what worked yesterday might not work today. Might not work tomorrow. Things are continuously changing. Conditioning can be a dangerous thing. I'll share with you a real example. Happened in a workshop I was conducting with teachers. There was a big group, 150 people had gathered. It was about 4 hours workshop we had. So we were talking about serving the country and doing something for the country and spirit of patriotism and all that. I played the national anthem. Listen to this carefully. Very interesting thing happened. I played the national anthem. It's a nice video, which was not only the national anthem, but had a very strong message with it as well. When the national anthem was over, something very interesting in the room happened. Because it was a room that where the seats were, imagine if this room is full all the way to the back. Once the national anthem is over, people at the back started leaving the room. I still have 2 hours to go. So I'm like, I didn't announce a break. This training session is not over yet. What is happening? I said, hello, ma'am, we still have 2 hours to go. Sir, you played the national anthem, and every day after the national anthem, we disperse. So that is what they are leaving. I am not making this up. This happened, right, in that workshop. So we all had a good laugh afterwards on it, and we say, okay, here is a live example of what preconditioning can do for us, right? The curse of knowledge. You do it frequently, and it becomes a habit. Then you have to break it. So the first thing that leaders like to do, they are open to learning, they are open to changes, and that is how they become in a position to lead. So here are some of the challenges that we are facing in our times with the generation that we are dealing with. They say if Facebook was a school, मेरी attendance perfect रहेगी. If you could make school that exciting, I'll have perfect. So these are the challenges we are facing right now. We are, my daughter, 1.5-year-old, she's growing up with the iPad in her hand. I saw first an iPad when I was at my age, a year ago. And I first sat on a plane when I was 18. She's already been on the plane 5 times. She's already traveled more kilometers around the country than my mom has in her entire lifetime. So can you imagine, how can we say that the same strategies are going to work, what have worked in the past? I was doing a session with parents in Kolkata. So we did a survey asking students, what do you expect from parents? तो उसमें number 1 answer, पता क्या है? Number 1 answer was, please don't tell us every day, हमारे टाइम में ये होता था, हमारे टाइम में वो होता था, आपको हमने AC लगवा के दिया है, ये किया, पढ़ते क्यों नहीं हो, blah blah blah, हमारे टाइम में. They say, number 1 thing youngsters are saying, हमें ये रोज मत सुनाओ कि हमारे टाइम में ये होता था, क्योंकि आपके टाइम में कार खरीदना हो तो वो भी सिंपल डिसीजन होता था. एक थिएटर एम्बेसडर, ज्यादा पैसे हैं तो कंटेसा. हमारे टाइम में शैम्पू खरीदना भी प्रॉब्लम है. You go into a supermarket, you agree with that? हमारे टाइम में शैम्पू खरीदना भी प्रॉब्लम. There's so many options. So don't compare, don't make a comparison, right? That was the number 1 thing. So students are expecting this from us. This generation is expecting this from us, that we be in tune with what their challenges are. We be in tune with what their circumstances are. We can't stay out of tune and say, nahin, because I'm the teacher, you listen to me. Not gonna happen. Very difficult to achieve. Burn a lot of energy. You need to tune into what their mindset is, talk their language, understand their concerns, understand the dynamics. That is what is happening. Second challenge we're facing is lack of patience. This generation is running short of patience. Would you agree? They're running short of patience. Kahawat hua karti thi, the quotation used to be, where there is a will, there is a way. इस जनरेशन की कहावत क्या है? Where there is a will, I want my name on it. Where there is a will, my name, where there are relatives and there is a will, my name better be on it. So there is this mindset of entitlement, if I may use the word, entitlement. They have a strong sense of entitlement. And that is primarily the fault of parents, I would believe, or wherever we can trace it down to. But the sense of entitlement without having the ability to put in hard work is a challenge for teachers, I believe, on a daily basis, because the patience is running low. They want everything quick, quick, quick. So we have to understand, would you agree with this so far? You agree with this? So we have to understand the social context of this. We can't just blame them for it. हमें social context भी देखना है. Why, the generation, my generation or a few generations before, we had a lot of patience. We've been through it. अपने बैंक में से अपना पैसा निकालने के लिए it used to take half a day, a whole day at times. पूरे दिन में भी नहीं मिलता था. टोकन लो, वहाँ खड़े हो, फिर किसी से फोन लगाते थे, मम्मा आपको जानता है इस बैंक में कोई, हाँ उनको आंटी को बोलो जाके, वो अभी से अभी आपका करा देंगे, आंटी प्लीज मुझे जाना है मेरा टोकन. So you're on money, right? You can.
Yeah, but there are some changes, we still can't resist. Like eating habit.
Okay.
Nowadays eating habit, you see, we can't compromise.
Right.
Earlier days we used to have good eating habit.
Okay.
There are good changes, we should go for this, but there are certain changes.
Sir.
So that also we have to look into.
Absolutely. So eating का trend में आपने क्या notice किया? Eating के trend में specific.
To me, you can say like taking milk.
Right.
First of all, the adulteration is there. The new generation, they don't think for that quality.
Right.
So chocolate and so many things.
True.
Nowadays,
They want the calories straight away. You know, so that's why McDonald's and KFC making so much money. And I often ask people, how many of you have tried Amritsari fish, by the way? Amritsari fish खाई आपने कभी? नहीं खाई. Oh my God, you should arrange that for them once in a while. Amritsari fish is batter fried fish, and that is as good as fish can get. Why KFC came from another country and they're making millions in this country with the same product जो हमारे country में आज से 100 साल पहले से चला आ रहा है? Why? With their branding and marketing, and they are able to attract these lot there. So that those changes are definitely coming in. So I was talking about the money part, getting your money from the bank, and now what they have an ATM card, a 4-digit PIN number. Money comes out even if the money is not theirs. Even if the money is coming from a credit card or whatever account, it's instantaneous. So what they're getting in a habit is they want instantaneous gratification. Attention spans are going down. That is the next thing we are facing in all the research, all the observations that we do.
It's also happening because technology
Absolutely.
is
Technology is
provides all those
flooding them with information, and they are expecting us to move at the same pace. They are saying, my video moves faster than you. Come on. तो पता है मुझे ये चलो आगे चलो. So those are the conversations going on in their head. Why should we just really become a formality that has to be fulfilled? Why can't we engage and connect? To be able to do that, we're going to have to understand what the changes are. So welcome to the flipped classroom. Welcome to the flipped classrooms. What is the flipped classroom? The flipped classroom is where the role of the teacher changes from the sage on the stage to the co-discoverer sitting next to you. That is a flipped classroom, right? And there is a gentleman who is ensuring that this flipped classroom is becoming a reality. Welcome to Khaniculum. Not curriculum, Khaniculum. Time magazine had an article, full 5-page article recently on Salman Khan. This is Salman Khan, by the way, who is changing the way education happens. If you ever happen to be on YouTube, type in Khan Academy. Everything right from calculus, algebra, arithmetic, trigonometry, statistics, economics, history, geography. This guy has made it interesting. He has made it free, and he is distributed it worldwide. Ex-financial analyst in a bank, making loads of money. One morning feels and gets up and मेरी life में meaning नहीं है कोई. Job छोड़ा. This is what they do in the US now. They make immediate decisions. Job छोड़ा, sat in front of his computer, started saying, I'm going to do something for the community. क्या करना है? मेरी niece को कोई confusion थी last time lesson में, तो उसको मैंने lesson कैसे समझाया? So he took. That's how the idea started. His niece, sitting on the other side of the US, she couldn't understand a lesson. She said, Uncle, can you teach me? He said, okay, come online. So he used an online program, online whiteboard, and he used the Skype connection free of cost. She said, wow, that was very good. I could never understand my teacher, but Uncle, I understood you very well. That's where the idea took birth of Khan Academy. One-man army, started with a one-man army, he now has 32 employees, started with money from his pocket, and now has a funding of over $30 million by the likes of Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, founders of Google, by the likes of Ratan Tata, Azim Premji, all saying, you are creating a model that will challenge the traditional classroom method. Very high. Now, he's brought in a combination of technology and the human side. If you watch one of his videos, you will see technology, he has this ability to track कि आपने video कहाँ रोका. Means आपको कौन सा point समझ नहीं आया. Human side, he has the ability to create humor in a video. He has the ability to create stories for chemistry. Mitosis and other things, he's creating stories, he's creating interesting examples. Kids are enjoying that. And schools, about 16 schools in California district have already said, we were going to rely more on Khaniculum now and curriculum, but they have permission from the state government. Let us start using this guy's curriculum, what he's doing with his videos. So if they've given every child a screen and all that, and teachers will come in only when they need to understand, jo unko samajh nahi laga. So that the supplementary role is going. So this is the world, my friends, we're living in. The world of the flipped classroom, the world of Khaniculum. And my question is, if this is penetrating US at this point of time, we too are very tech savvy. What are the chances this will start penetrating here? I think sometime soon. We're ahead. My prediction today is that yes, in the few years to come, this is going to be a major new model that is going to emerge. I read a quotation, I'd like to share it with you. Any teacher that can be replaced with a computer should be replaced with a computer. Any teacher that can be replaced with a computer should be replaced with a computer, and this man is ensuring that that happens. So Then my next question to you here is this. What then is the role of a teacher in an environment like that?
Designing the curriculum.
Okay, something that we can affect, something that we can affect. Let us talk about in a framework of your daily challenges. Within what decisions, I think that's Kapil Sibbal's hands, no? What he dictates. Within our roles, what we can change, what is the changed role of a teacher then?
As a facilitator,
Teacher as a facilitator, okay.
as a friend.
As a friend. Curriculum agar online hai, and okay, if you go online, you'll find Harvard and Stanford lectures online as well. There's open universities. What's happening in Harvard, you can see it for free. So my question to you is this, if all the information is available online, what is the need for us? How do we fill in, what gap are we filling in, and how well are we filling in, and what changes have happened? This is my question. What do you feel?
Help them disclose and discover things.
Discover, okay, what else? So jahan student ke paas already information hai, and he knows a lot of it before you do. How many of you been to a doctor and even before the doctor could prescribe you something, you were telling him, nahi internet pe maine ye padha tha, wo padha tha, iske aage ye to nahi ho jayega, is medicine ka ye, and the doctors, I have a lot of doctor friends, they're like, Google, I want to kill Google, because they have to pick up their books every time, patients are contradicting them. So this shift is not only happening in your profession, every profession, people are more informed than before. So sawal ye hai, question is this, in an era where students are already informed, what is the changing role that we have to play?
Motivators.
Motivators, okay.
To convince them that what we say is right.
Okay,
It's not that.
okay. So influencers, can we say? The ability to influence to your point of view, regardless of what YouTube and other things are saying, having a strong influence, motivation, what else?
And so they are getting information from all quarters. They're
Okay.
confused.
They're confused.
So it is then that they believe.
Absolutely. Helping reduce that confusion. Would you agree? That's a very important. Helping reduce that confusion. Kya sahi hai, kya galat hai? Okay, what else?
Teaching them how to learn.
Teaching them how to learn and teaching them how to think, right? How to use their power of imagination. What else? Right, absolutely. They need to know something on, thank you sir, something on Google is not word of God. You know, it can be wrong. It could not be the right thing to do. So helping them with that. I would like to say here, sir.
Basically, the computerized teaching or the media means practical teaching, or there is a big difference.
True.
Students, we can't give them a hand on his back and love him. That touch will not come, at least that when touch is there in a student.
The dynamic ability that a human being has. Now we saw the video, he said by 2014 human brain ko exceed kar jayega computer. But hey, I don't think computers can ever have emotions. Right? Otherwise people would be getting married to robots. Computers can't have emotions. They don't have this dynamic ability to say, hey, you know, this guy is not really listening to me here right now. Let me go and talk to him and say, sir, everything okay? You know, the ability to do that, that is a human being's job. That is the, and the second thing I'd like to share what Aristotle, he said, Socrates, he said this. He said, the real goal of education is not the filling of a vessel. So if I may take this as a metaphor. So if this is an empty glass that comes to my school, and this is my curriculum prescribed, I have to ensure that this is filled up here. So he says the real goal of education is not to fill the vessel. Of course we have to do that. You know, it's part of the regulatory thing. Kapil Sibal will check, you know, pura glass bhara ke nahi, and we've got all those regulatory things we have to go through. But he says the real goal of education is not to fill the vessel. The real goal of education is to light the spark. Would you agree with that? The real goal of education is not to fill the vessel. The real goal of education is to light the spark. Once the spark is lit, your job becomes easier. Everything else falls into place. Everything else is very, very easy once the spark is lit. Sadly though, this is what is happening. This is the model we're following right now. Fill up the glass, thank you, bye, go. We've done our job. Who lights your spark? I don't care. I'm asked to do that, that's my job. No, I think that this glass is being filled by technology. This glass is being filled by information online, by videos. We have to do much more than that. And that being primarily the ability to do what? Light the spark. So, then I brought a few lessons which I feel that, few inputs that I feel that what are the great practices that leaders follow? Great leaders, whether it's the corporate, political, whatever world, successful people who are influencers. So my definition of leadership is influence. Very simple. Not a whole book, one word. What is leadership? Influence. If I can influence you to understand what I'm saying, if I can influence you to listen to what I have to say, I'm your leader in that situation. There are thousands of different definitions coming up every day. There's tons of literature, thousands of books, but my definition of leadership is this. Leadership is influence. If you're able to exert influence on others, change their point of view, get them to follow you, get them to take them with you on a journey, you're a leader. So what is the number one thing number one aspect that leaders are able to display? And that is the ability to connect. The ability to reach out and connect. I would like to ask a simple question here, and I want you to give some thought on this. Who was your best teacher? The one that you can still remember right now. If I say, right now, sir, who was your best teacher ever?
Yeah, my PhD supervisor,
PhD supervisor, his name was?
Dr. J.K. Sharma.
Thank you very much. Sir? Okay, so the thing is, what I'm trying to demonstrate is they don't have to go and open a notebook, who was my best teacher. As I'm sure is applicable with everybody else here. You can remember your best teacher right there, yes or no? Yes? And that happens because they've left a deep imprint on your mind. Please describe the qualities of your best teacher to me. Everyone, let's go random. Whatever comes to your mind. I will describe mine. Shall I start with mine first? My best teacher, he used to teach me accounts, but I learned much more from him than accounts. And that's my another input here. Teaching is not only about what you convey, teaching also is about who you are. A good teacher influences not only by virtue of his knowledge, a good teacher influences by virtue of who he or she is. Because believe it or not, students are continuously sniffing that out. They are mirroring that, they are learning from that, they are modeling that behavior. Right? So it's not just the information that you dispense, it is who you are. My accounts teacher, Mr. Ashwini Kansra, Dr. Ashwini Kansra now, he was the head of an institution now, so I met him just randomly. So I told him, I said, sir, from you not only I got some very clear concepts of accounting, and I was a student who traditionally feared mathematics, hardcore maths, but he made me fall in love with numbers, making them very simple, So other teachers would, so we were sitting in a group, and let's say there was 15 of us, we never used a calculator. He would say, okay, take 19 off 80, wo kitna hoga? Random, it used to be very intense. I fell in numbers, in love with numbers in Mr. Ashwini Kansra's class. But what I learned from him went beyond that. And what I've learned from him was 100 other things. How he carried himself, how he spoke, how he dressed up, his mannerisms, his sense of time management, everything about him. Mr. Kansra was a role model, You're like, wow, when I grow up, I want something of his personality in me. That was what was really good about him. Of course, accounts, he was very good at that. So now I throw the question open to the audience once again. Describe the traits of your best teachers.
Careful and kind.
Kind and careful and kind. Careful and kind, okay. Encourage. Used to encourage you, okay.
My teacher had a very soft voice. She was very pretty.
Wow. It's very soft voice and very pretty. Okay, great. When I was in standard 8th, I had to get some orthodontic treatment. So my dentists were also very soft-spoken. She was also very pretty. So I used to call up the hospital before and say, Dutch ma'am, main duty pe ya koi aur hai, if there's somebody else, I'm not coming to the hospital. The other doctors are just, they just rip open my mouth, and she was very gentle. And of course, things like that matter. Of course they do. Leaves an imprint on us, What else?
My French teacher, he was very vivacious, cheerful, exuberant.
Okay.
I have picked up those traits from him.
I'm sure you display them very well. You do indeed.
Shushan's teacher also, and full of life and very humorous.
Okay. Sense of humor. Do you see that's very, how important? I think that's very, very important. Leaders laugh. Remember this. Sense of humor is very powerful way, ma'am.
Sincere and loving.
Sincere and loving. So sincerity created another very powerful element in any relationship, which is trust. Right? And today I think whatever issues are coming up, whether in organizations or classrooms, trust deficit is a huge reason why, because parents are not trusting teachers, students are not trusting them. There's a lack of trust, and sincerity is the surest way to get there.
My English teacher, She was very well prepared and also a good listener.
Okay, great. Well prepared. She knows what he's talking about. We all remember the teacher who would come up that morning and who would think, I'll just play with them. You can't do that anymore. You can't play with them anymore. You see, they don't know, and you will just pick up your book then and be very creative, think on your feet. No, you need to be prepared, and they're sniffing it out. Gentleman at the back, or you can go ahead.
Again, the English teacher.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, she used to complete her curriculum. She was also having all the pressures of the curriculum. Yet she always had the time for every child, whatever they had their problems with, or their own thoughts, we used to go and share with her, talk to her, and she always had the time to listen to us.
Okay. Which is what we're talking about right now, to connect to you. When you listen to someone, you connect at a very deep level. The challenge with listening in these days is, old skill you must have heard used to be make eye contact when you listen. Suna aap sabne? Yes, suna hoga. I'm sure numerous sessions. They say, look at the person who you're talking to, make eye contact. New skill is make eye contact with someone while you're typing in a message or while you're typing in your laptop. But it doesn't, if we were very good at multitasking, the police would never stop us from using the mobile phone and driving at the same time, right? They have a reason for that, which means we need to concentrate. If you're listening to someone, you really need to tune into that person so that they can open their heart to you. Once they begin doing that, you are in a position of leadership. Not by authority, and I'll come to that later. But sir, you raise your hand. Favorite teacher, your qualities. I'll need more inputs, yes.
He was my computer teacher, first computer teacher who taught me computer and logic.
Okay.
Rather than teaching me software part, he teach me how to love with the wire and the technical thing, the hardware thing, how to open it, how to get it repaired.
So it was not just, he was not restricting himself to a set guideline from that's what it is. Theoretical point of view, he let you explore. And I believe, my friends, infants reveal the very core of human behavior because there is no worldly tuning at the moment. And I learn a lot from my baby daughter. And I've learned one thing. We arrive in this world with a very sharp desire to explore, with a very strong sense of curiosity. Exploration is built into us. We want to see what it's like to climb the stairs. And she feels so excited when she does that. And I'm sure many people in this room can relate to that, right? But it's when we stop that thing, exploration band karte hain, curiosity band karte hain, you are disconnecting from who you are. That's when you become a mechanized, boring robot. Whether it's the student or the teacher, you've disconnected from the process of exploration. You've let go your curiosity. You say, okay, I know enough. Nobody ever knows enough. Not 100 years before, not in these times of change. We need to continuously, keeping the curiosity alive in yourself and in the students. And I kept your curiosity alive for Salman Khan for a few minutes, Keeps you hooked on. You got to find ways to keep people hooked on. So leaders connect, and here's the challenge. Why is so difficult these days to connect? So at the funeral, only 2 people have turned up, and the people are whispering, oh, he had 2,000 Facebook friends. Why only 2 of them turned up? Because relationships are also moving online. The definition of what a relationship is also being altered, is also being changed. I see young kids squabbling with each other. Tere kitne friends hain? So I thought I would listen to this conversation. He said 350. I said, what? 350 friends? How can that be? I didn't realize he's saying Facebook friends. कहता है ऐसे ही सबको इनवाइट भेजता रहता तुम सबको इनविटेशन भेजता रहता है फ्रेंड तेरा कोई नहीं है so I could listen to kids and this is their definition of friendship, this is their definition of a relationship. So these are the changes we are facing in, because technology, where it was supposed to bring us closer, it's actually done the reverse. When the microwave oven was invented and the washing machine was invented, there was a prediction, published newspaper prediction in the US, so housewives will now only have to work 20 hours a week. Their life is going to become so easy. Now you have a microwave oven, you have a washing machine, yalla, enjoy. And what has happened? We all know, the more gadgets are given to us, the faster we are forced to run. If we don't slow down, we are forced to run faster. So the time has not been created, so we need to find out what the challenges are, and that's challenge number 2. This is the second challenge. This being the attitude. I work with companies and they say, our leaders, we have an open door policy. We have a what? Yaar, thoda zor se chahiye mujhe. We have a what? Open door policy. So I said, wow, that's fantastic. अब तो problems होनी नहीं चाहिए. You have an open door policy. But when you, sir, problems इसलिए होती हैं, when I open the door, what is inside is very scary. So I don't bother going inside. So policy frame करा के रखी हुई है दीवार पे. Open door policy. I am the lead. Come in any time you want to talk to me. You are more than welcome. Policy induction में बताई जाती, manual में बताई जाती है. Open door policy. But you open the door and you're like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll sort out my problem अपने आप. I don't need the help there. So this being I mean, I don't know. I am speaking from I am speaking from experience of what is happening around this country. सबने open door policy बनाई है. फिर leadership में problems क्यों आती हैं? I don't know. But hey, let's also look at it this way. In our student and teacher relationship, there could be the same dynamic. I remember, I had so many teachers, I was just scared talking to them. They were great teachers, but approachability was not there. You know, I was not comfortable saying, sir, I haven't understood that. Can you repeat it? And you know, we Indians are very docile, we're very obedient. Well, not now. Things are changing. But everybody understood? Yes, sir. Samajh aaya nahi. And that's become part of our culture. Or the other one is, you know, we often talk is the try culture. Try. What's it called? Try culture. So friend says, it's my birthday party, can you come? You're not in the city, you're in Goa. So what are you going to say? I'll try. So is the same thing perhaps happening? So the question we need to ask is, at a level of behavior, is our attitude creating more bridges or is it creating more walls? We need to really ask ourselves this question. Every single moment. मैंने क्यों ये शुरू किया बार-बार आप लोगों को? फिर से smile attack please. I want to see a smile on your face. Right? Have you heard about laughter yoga? Yeah. Let's do a bit laughter yoga because some people, when I work with very senior people, they have very good excuses why they cannot laugh. They say, Simerjeet, carry on with the session. This laughter yoga is, you know, I'm okay like that. They say, 20 years I've not smiled. Why you want me to smile? Nobody in my family ever smiles, so I can't smile. But this is the approachability is the #1 quality of a leader in any relationship. So what it does, do you know what happens when human beings laugh together? I love that. Do you know what happens when human beings laugh together? Vibrations, no doubt. A bond. When we study interpersonal relationships, they say the shortest distance between two brains is a good laugh. The shortest distance between two brains, two strangers, whatever, two brains is a laughter, is a healthy laugh, is the shortest distance. People laugh together, they feel a sense of bonding. They feel a sense of safety. So humor, I think, is a very, very powerful thing which is often underrated, which leaders, everyone, teachers included, can use with their careful calibration in the right quantity to make things light. Recently what happened, Barack Obama was giving a speech, 5,000 ladies, 5,000 women. So they're all like, wow, Barack Obama's on the stage. And just like you have the Sagar School emblem there, when he speaks on the podium, there is an emblem which says, Seal of the President of the United States. It's very nice looking, it's got eagles and all brass and all that, very heavy one. So he's giving his talk and it's going very well. And then all of a sudden this thing falls off, you know, and all the ladies are laughing out at him. And you know, guess how he handles it? He says, it's okay. All of you know who I am. So I don't need the seal to tell. All of you know who I am. And everybody starts laughing even more. He handles it with humor. So what I'm saying, two things I'm saying here. A, laughter will help you connect very well. Sense of humor will make you approachable. Second, you can diffuse difficult situations always, whether it is within the team or in a teacher-student relationship. You can diffuse any difficult situation with a genuine, good sense of humor. So I was talking earlier, the more elaborate a means of communication, the less we communicate these days. So we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, emails, but when was the last time you had a real communication with someone? Real communication. It's like when there is no hidden agenda, where you're not holding anything back, they're not holding anything back. That's as meaningful communication. That is when you actually make a bridge, when people open up. And remember this, I shared this in my leadership workshops, I'll share it with you. Communication happens when people feel safe. Let me repeat that. Communication happens only in an environment where people feel safe. If any stakeholder in the communication is feeling threatened, communication is not going to happen. Communication happens only when people feel safe. Are we good so far, on the right track? Yes? Gaining something? Yes. Okay. So, when it comes to connection, I'd like to wrap up the connection part by sharing this equation with you. And if you're from a mathematics or numbers background, you're not going to agree with me. But hey, when it comes to relationships, all research is pointing out to one thing: small is equal to big. Whether it is your relationships among each other or with the students, best way to connect is not doing something out of the world, is the small gestures that you make. It is a smile on your face when you see somebody in the morning. That's going to make a difference, doesn't it? I believe it does. When I meet people and how they, for the few seconds of their interaction with you, what imprint they leave, I remember that. You carry that energy with you. It's the small things that you do, right, that are going to make a big impact on any relationship to connect. So, number one was leaders learn. They are open. Number two is leaders connect. They one-to-one, they want to find, they peel off the layers of the onion. That's how human beings are. Students in your classrooms are like onions. Are like onions, waiting to be peeled layer after layer.
That's why they cause tears also.
That is a good one, and I like your sense of humor. That is why they also cause tears as well sometimes, but great, they're waiting to be peeled for you to come along as a co-discoverer, peel the layers, find out what their core are, get them to know. The best gift I believe you can give to any student is help them discover their core, who they really are. So you know what I'm talking about. You know that these behaviors are infectious. Would you agree? Would you agree? Behaviors are infectious. How many of you use a Wi-Fi system? Raise your hands, please. Wi-Fi? Or when you go home or airports or shopping malls, you have a phone or some gadget enabled. You know how a Wi-Fi works, right? How it works is there is this transmitter which is giving out the signals. You have a device. You sometimes have a password, sometimes it's open. Now, if you don't remember anything from this session, just remember this. I hope you remember everything. But this is very important. You all have a Wi-Fi system around you. You have a what? A Wi-Fi system around you. Every single individual sitting right here in this room, you are a transmitter, you are a Wi-Fi transmitter. Let me explain. And there's no password. This is an open network. Anyone can log in, and people are continuously logging in. Now, this Wi-Fi system is what the founders of emotional intelligence, Daniel Goleman, he calls this the emotional Wi-Fi system. It's your state of mind, your attitude, how you're feeling in a certain point of time. You are emitting the same vibration, जिसमें और लोग log in कर रहे हैं. So I think the golden question to be asked here is, am I a dispenser of enthusiasm? Or am I giving out vibrations of misery or complaints or sadness? Because trust me, there are others who are receiving it, And sooner or later, no matter how good they are, they get infected with this. Especially if they look up to you. This is very important. See, if the parent in the home is unhappy for whatever reason, you have this urge to ask, no? What's wrong? Any elder person in the home, you want to ask them, what's wrong? You're not feeling good today. Because you're concerned that automatically it's getting there. So if people treat you with a sense of respect, you have a position of influence, it is all the more important to ensure that your state of mind is good. Because here's what I believe about motivation and positive influence and all that. Imagine, if you will, your emotions as a glass of water. As a glass. Not the glass half empty or half full question, that wo bahut purana ho gaya. But imagine, if you will, that this is an empty glass and this water in here is your happiness or your confidence or whatever is good, all the good emotions. Now, if my glass is empty, I can't pour something in yours. If you imagine we all, and Mother Teresa, she said, we're all walking around with an empty glass. Mother Teresa, with all her infinite wisdom of human emotions, he said, we are all walking around with an empty glass, waiting to be filled with appreciation, with love, with care. But if my own glass is empty, I won't be able to fill in yours. And I think that's also the main thing with teaching. When we talk about light the spark in the kids, I've talked about that, right? But if my own spark is not lit, What will I rely on? What can I use to ensure that their spark is going to be lit? It's not possible. I am not living life to the full. I'm not a role model to living life to the full. Children have more need of role models than critics. Children have more need of role models than critics. They already have a lot of critics. You know, it's like, visualize, if you will, like a pressure cooker. That's how life is for them, a pressure cooker. Confusion, hormonal changes, peer pressure. It's just pressure from parents, every side, pressure about what they'll become. It's like a pressure cooker. And if you, I'm sure the ladies here can relate with that. When you cook, if you don't let off the steam, there's chances for an explosion. That's how life is for them. I'm going to play a video. It is called Children See and Children Do. This was designed by the Australian government just to get this message across that everything that a parent does is being copied by a child right there. So that is, and I think the same relationship exists with the teacher as well. Children see, children do. You know, no rocket science there, I believe, is what they call an emotional intelligence mirroring. You are continuously mirroring others around you. If you ever had an influential, if you ever worked with someone that you really looked up to, like a role model of a boss or someone, didn't you see after a while you were copying the way they were talking and copying even the way they were dressing? Not consciously, subconsciously. There's been research around this. New boss comes in and everybody loves him and the way he dresses up is going to be copied. Recently, one of the first females to take charge of a major defense organization in the United States, BAE Systems, you know, big into, it's not female territory, to be honest with you, defense arms manufacturers. So it was quite a big news that first females made it there. And the way she dressed up, she always used to wear a black, dark gray colored jacket and with a scarf around her neck. Now, she typically wore the black, brown, charcoal jacket every day, but changed a different scarf every day. 10 or 15 women she had in the main team, and in the next week or 10 days, scarves were in. Scarves became the new fashion. You know, so that's how powerful this whole system is. So when we talk about the teachers take the authority of leadership, let me here share a few minutes on how you lead. There are two ways. Stephen Covey, he highlights in his research, two ways how you can lead people. Formal authority versus moral authority. Anyone can help me? Take your guesses on what they could be. Formal authority versus moral authority. Which one's better? Which means what? Which am I using at the moment? Which one should I be using?
Formal authority is power to get the things done.
Okay.
It is given to you by the management.
Okay.
And moral is based on ethics.
Moral is based on ethics. Any different views? Anything to add to us, sir?
When you speak with the help of chair, I mean power.
Right, right. Thank you.
And when you speak with your own experience,
Mm-hmm.
that becomes your moral.
I think you've captured it very well. Formal authority is designation. You listen to me because I asked you to listen to me. Okay, sometimes we have to exercise it. And in the student and teacher relationship, we have to exercise it at times. But if the whole relationship is founded on formal authority, we're missing the point. If we're forcing others to listen to us because they have to by virtue of my designation, they will because they have to, but they're not getting anything out of it. Let me highlight this by a real life example. How many of you been on a plane recently, last 6 months, 1 year, domestic flight? Okay, please, I want to see the hands. Great, and which airlines? Which airline? Go India, okay. Indigo, okay. And you guys would rate yourselves as average or good listeners, or? Huh? Hope so. Give, okay, if 0 is terrible and 10 is excellent, what rating would you give yourself as a listener? 10? And you were on a flight recently? No? So you're safe. So if you were on a flight recently, 6 months to 1 year, give me a rating, please, 0 to 10. Where do you feel you are in terms of listening skills? 7? You were on a flight recently? Good. Ma'am? Around 7 only, okay. Ma'am would like to say, I'll keep it flexible. Depending where you are going, Simerjeet, with this. Right, so, what do you recall of the flight safety announcement? How many of you honestly can recall the flight safety announcement. Okay. Okay.
And the belts.
And put on the belt. At that point,
Mask will.
okay. Why did you listen to them? For our own safety. If, ज़िंदा रहने के लिए. If you are a frequent flyer on a plane every third day, fourth day. Any frequent flyers here? Once every week? Once every month? Okay, would you, okay, great, I appreciate that. Would you let us have a hypothetical situation? Let us say if you are flying in a month you're flying 6 or 7 times. What will happen to your ability to, or your desire to listen to that flight safety announcement? It's going to go down. And even if you're bearing if you're a first timer, I think even if you're on the plane for the second time, your interest and your desire to listen to what she has to say is going down drastically. And part of the reason is because they're not putting their mind to it. Right? This is a great book every teacher should read. It is called Made to Stick. What's it called? Made to Stick. And the whole idea is a lot of scientific research in how you can make your message sticky. So if you're throwing out a message, how it can stick to the other person. Great book, easy to read. So here I will read out to you, if your flight announcement would be something like this. If I could have your attention for a few minutes, we would sure love to point out these safety features. If you haven't been in an automobile since 1965, the proper way to fasten your seat belt is to slide the flat end into the buckle. To unfasten, zip up on the buckle and it will release. And as the song goes, there might be 50 ways to leave your lover, but there are only 6 ways to leave this aircraft. 2 forward exit doors, 2 over the wing removable window exits, 2 after each doors. Location of each exit is clearly marked with signs overhead, as well as red and white disco lights along the floor of the aisle. I made you pay attention to me. Thank you very much. Have a good flight. So if your flight information would be something like this, what are the chances you would be listening to it? Chances are higher. It's engaging. Why? It's got the element of surprise. It's got the element of unpredictability. 2 very important things. Element of surprise and unpredictable is catching your attention. Now, and this was done in the United States by one particular thing. So the authorities obviously had something to object, but then they got through. They gave them the freedom. As long as you are conveying the main safety features, it's okay. You can devise your own strategy. But then the receptivity was going up. So what they were relying was not just on formal authority, which means that this is what I've been given and that is all I'm going to use. They're being creative as well. So moral authority here means that because I am giving extra emphasis on this, because I am also investing a lot in what I'm doing, I have moral authority over you. Are you with me? Is this making sense? Would an overweight person have moral authority over you to give you a lecture on staying fit? He or she may have formal authority by virtue of their designation, but they don't have moral authority. And if they don't have moral authority, the effectiveness is going to drop down. If I'm guzzling down half a bottle of vodka every evening, do I have a formal moral authority over you to say, no, drinks are bad for your health? No.
Maybe half, man.
Right, but I'm a bad role model. I may have formal authority. The systems authorize me with the stick, but I don't have moral authority. How did Mahatma Gandhi get millions of Indians together? He was never voted to any position. He was never appeared in any election. He said, walk with me and we'll be free together. He exercised moral authority. So let me be very clear. Formal authority is your designation. Moral authority is who you are. The effectiveness of formal authority is much higher, moral authority, than the formal one. So, how leaders connect. In context of teachers, one very important aspect I would like to share with you is called positive reinforcement. You must have heard about it? Yes. And Gallup organization, which is the world's leader in statistics, they threw out a simple question to parents and educators. If you have a kid, assuming he's got 5 subjects, on 4 subjects he's done very well. But on 1 subject he has barely passed. Which subject is first going to attract your attention?
Barely passed.
How many say barely passed is going to attract your immediate attention? Barely passed. You're going to say, hey, baki sab to theek hai, wahan kya hua? Right? They found out you're not alone. They found out almost 85 to 90% of parents and educators will want to focus on that immediately. But the damage that is happening if we immediately jump to that is we are missing out on the opportunity to positively reinforce the right behavior. When we talk about leadership, we say leaders by default are wired to look for what is wrong. Would you agree with this? By default, we are wired to look kya sahi nahi hai, where things are going wrong. But here's what will help you. Leaders should spend time daily looking for what is right, catching people doing things right. Are you with me on this? Spend some time every day catching
Things that are
people doing things right. Agar hame unko rebuke karna hai for what is not right, we must also have some time to say that was good. Wo sahi hai, but this is where we need to improve, right? We'll get to that later. First, reinforcement. I've often seen this as, again, coming back to my observation of my daughter's behavior. I'm teaching her how to throw a piece of paper into a dustbin. So listen carefully. I'm sure you must have all experienced this. So I show her the paper, the dustbin, and so she'll go, okay, she'll go there, and then she'll stop somewhere. I'll go on, I'll be there with her. So finally, when she throws the paper in the dustbin, I stand at the back to see what she's expecting. She's looking around, किसी ने देखा है कि नहीं? देखो मैंने कितनी बड़ी achievement की है. मैंने पापा ने बोला था डस्टबिन में पेपर फेंकना है, मैंने फेंका है. Is he there or not? So if Papa's there around the corner saying clap, 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 well done, so she's like all happy, moving on. But if there's nobody there, then she's like, okay, what fun, there's no fun in throwing paper in the dustbin. इसमें कोई फायदा नहीं है. Nobody appreciates you on that. So you have to understand the core of human psychology is like we want appreciation. Now, whether that is in your relationship with each other, or whether that is your relationship with the students as well. We need to have positive reinforcement. Often I've seen in parks, very interesting sight. Young mothers who bring out their little kids for a walk or a play in the park. So park se road cross karke udhar jana hai, to most of the time kids are not listening to their mothers. So us par, mom's like, tadak, tadak. Kitni bar bola hai park aise nahi cross karte hain. Have you seen that? I see it very often. Kitni bar bola aise nahi karte hain park cross. So she's exercising which authority? Formal authority. So kids crying, okay, mama, sorry, I won't do it next time. But do you think what is happening in the brain of the child? Confusion. मम्मी ने बोला रोड ऐसे नहीं क्रॉस करते हैं. मम्मी ने थप्पड़ भी लगा दिए दो, ऐसे नहीं क्रॉस करते हैं. मम्मी ने अभी तक ये नहीं बताया रोड कैसे क्रॉस करते हैं. It's confusion. Child's confused. So he's been shown what not to do. He has not been shown what to do. So right now, don't think about where your attendance registers are. No. Please don't think about आपके attendance register इस समय कहाँ पड़े हैं, उनका color कौन सा है, वो कितना काम करना बाकी. No, don't think about your attendance. Come on. And you are thinking about your attendance registers. Where they are is default wiring. The brain doesn't understand it that way, right? So positive reinforcement. It is better to phrase something in what you should be doing rather than saying ye mat karo. It's better to say give them a model behavior. Ye karo. See, it will become easier. Is this making sense so far? Yes. So moving on. The dangerous thing when it comes to connecting with people or students is labels. Soren Kierkegaard, the famous Danish philosopher, he said, once you label me, you negate me. Once you label me, you negate me. You put a boundary on my boundless potential. Once you give me a label, I'm not good at mathematics, or I'm not very hardworking, or I have a short attention span. Once you put me in a slot, I will tend to stay in that slot. Once you label me, you negate me. Very, very careful here with labels. I had 800 students in a session in Kolkata recently, and there's only one thing I shared with them in 1 hour I had with them was self-concept. How many of you are familiar with the term self-concept? Self-concept is who I think who I am, my own concept of my own self. So if Simerjeet Singh, who's in a profession of motivational speaking, thinks that he's not a good speaker, it'll be a disaster. Shah Rukh Khan, who's in the business of show business, thinks he's not good in front of the camera, it's going to be a disaster, right? So our performance cannot exceed our self-concept. That is all the research is pointing out. My self-concept is this. It's very difficult कि मेरी performance मेरे खुद के self-concept को break करेगी. We teachers, educators, we have a role in building that self-concept where they are. Because if they think they can, they will. But if we tell them, no, this is your label, this is who you are, stay in this category, that is what is going to happen. Right? The worst thing you can do to any human being is take their dream away. It's the worst thing you can do to any human being is उसका सपना छीन लो कि आप ये नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि you don't have the qualification to do this, you don't have the background to this. It's the worst thing. You're robbing them of their soul if you're robbing them of their dream. The best thing you can do to a human being is enable them to discover their greatness. So labels, very, very dangerous. Be very careful here. People live up to their labels. Often you have a child, he does mathematics wrong once, twice. So his friends start saying, you're not good at maths. Parents start saying, tu mummy pe gaya hai, you're not good at maths. Tu engineering mat lena, tu kuch aur subject lena, you're not good at maths. Teacher ne bol diya ek baar, reinforcement happening, not positive, negative reinforcement. Finally, danger kicks in. One moment, child says to his friend, यार आज मैथ्स का पेपर है, मुझे डर लग रहा है क्योंकि I am not good at maths. So the opinion of others has now been accepted by him as his reality. Damage done, damage sealed for the rest of the life. Unless some new spark comes in, जो उसको force करे. But it's sealed. So we have to be very careful about labels, right? And when it comes to connection, dealing with emotions, I'd like to share this with you. People will forget what you said. We're very bad at retaining exact information. People forget what you say to them. People even forget what you do. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. It's the feeling part. And I think when you talk about your favorite teachers, I'm sure it's not, you don't remember their textual information or conceptual information. You remember कि उन्होंने आपको महसूस कैसे कराया. How did they make you feel? Because that's building you up. That's really powerful. I would like to share a personal example. Every August, we get a batch of about 500 or 600 students in the city where I live in Jalandhar in Punjab. And that's more like from a social service angle. So there's 600 students for 3 months, they are with us, and we train them on life skills. 2 hours every day, so we got a pool of trainers, different subjects. We help them self-discovery, a lot of different crazy things. It's a great institution because they're very open to this idea. They said 2 hours, all yours, do what you like. And some life-changing things happen in that classroom. So we organized a public speaking competition. I said throughout, and that was not point A to point B, first day to the end day, who's going to be, right at the end day, who's going to be the best public speaker in this room. And I had 7 classes, each with 60 odd kids each, me and my team, and we announced one winner from every single class is going to have dinner with me in KFC. Like, well, come on, that's a joke. They wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't believe it. But at the end, we selected the one winner, took them out to KFC, and that gesture, which we did of our own, that gesture in itself was very, very powerful, which they still remember. So remember, the equation here is when dealing with people is small is equal to big. It's the small things that you do that make a big difference. So leaders learn, leaders lead, leaders laugh, leaders connect, and finally, leaders inspire. Getting back to the quotation by Socrates, which said, the job of education is not filling of the vessel. The real job of education is igniting the flame. Albert Einstein, he said, knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Albert Einstein also said, your imagination is the preview of your life's coming attractions. What did he say? Your imagination is the preview of your life's coming attractions. Developing this ability within youngsters to visualize their future. Because all the research we've done on top performers, sports, politics, show business, we found out one thing. These youngsters could dream that I will be there someday. So I want to ask you a question. As teachers, are you afraid to be wrong here? No. Is that part of the reason why you would prefer to stay quiet than make a silly guess, especially on camera? I think the core of all learning experiences is the ability to experiment and in the process make a few mistakes. That's fine. Allow the creativity to emerge. So please.
Something to do with personality disorder?
Okay. So personality disorder, close.
PDD, purely dreamy trance.
Okay, that made us laugh. So this one is for that, for your sense of humor. Great. Come on, think. अभी आंसर पे नहीं पहुंचे. PDD एक बीमारी है जिससे टीचर्स को सबको as individuals, team members भी दूर रहना है. What is this disease and why do we need to stay away from it? Potential, very close, sir.
Yeah, it is dental disorder, but which disorder?
नहीं, dental नहीं है, mental है. Not dental. More likely it is mental. Take a guess. Promotional, okay. I've given you one hint, D is for disorder. Second hint I'm giving you has something to do with imagination. मैंने शुरू में आपको बोला था, we now have a workshop called Welcome to the Imagination Economy. And we do it for MBA students. Session is called Imagination Economy because I believe the economy right now is an imagination economy. I'm giving you a hint. So if D is for disorder, what is the PD for?
Potential deficiency.
Huh? Potential. Getting close now. Getting close. Take a guess यार, guess ही लगा लो, कुछ ही बना दो. प्रधानमंत्री deficiency disorder कुछ तो बनाओ. Perception? Okay. Perception? Okay, I give it to you. So I take the chocolate with me. Possibility deficiency disorder. It's not a real disease, I created it, so that's why you had a difficulty in guessing it. Some of you like very angry at me right now. What is it called? Possibility deficiency disorder. Now people who have this disease, they're like, possibilities don't exist for them. They're like, yehi hai, that's it, end of the story. And for you also, that's it. Your dad was an engineer, you must be an engineer. That's it, khalas, end of story. But this is a dangerous disease, it is infectious. So we need to do the reverse. We need to tell our youngsters there is a world of possibility out there, my friends, and I believe in that. I'm an opportunist, and that's why I left where I was staying in the United Kingdom. I moved back to India in a good timing. We are in the second fastest growing economy on planet Earth, second biggest population. There are opportunities everywhere, everywhere. Opportunities which did not exist before. My student, who is now a professional freelance photographer and studying for a multimedia course, is on freelance jobs on maybe 1 or 2 hours work, gone to a wedding, to a corporate event, kuch photos click kar. He's making 50,000 rupees a month. While his counterparts, whose parents thought, nahi, engineering is wohi karna hai, that's it. They still will be spending money for the next 3 years, and their heart is not into it. This economy is offering chances which did not exist before, and all we need to tap into those chances is the ability to think different and to be different. Let me see if I can play this video, which is narrated by none other than Steve Jobs himself, which talks about being different. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who actually do. So I think I will be wrapping up this session by this final input. Develop a sense of the ability to think different in your classrooms. That's critical at this point of time. This country needs innovation so badly. We cannot make further progress if we're using the same old strategies. How many of you have traveled on the Shatabdi train recently? Raise your hands, please. And you've perhaps noticed the recording has been playing on in my particular train for 15 years. So when you get to Ludhiana, they say, लुधियाना में आपका स्वागत है. देश की 90% ऊनी उत्पादन लुधियाना में होता है. नहीं होता है. अब 10 साल पहले होता था. इंडस्ट्री बंद हो गई है वहां से. Recording is still saying the same thing, you know. So how many of you, I mean, I'm sure you can all relate to this. How do we clean our homes? In the last 20 years, we're still using the chadu, the same old one. We're still using our people who work in our homes, they still have broken backs. They have back problems because we're still using the same old model. We have not been able to innovate. There are thousands, and I tell youngsters, I tell MBA graduates, go create a good mop that you can use and sell in India and you'll be a millionaire. There's opportunities everywhere to think different, to be different, and to create new value, to create innovation. Because rectification is easy, is okay. That has been the traditional model, but that will not help us survive with challenges that are coming in. So the ability to create your own solutions, I think that is where innovation comes in. Let me share very briefly the example of this gentleman here on the screen. His name is Irfan Alam. Irfan Alam is a graduate of Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, one of the most prestigious business schools in the country. Could have their average salaries usually vary between 70 lakhs to 1 crore per annum. Lucky enough to get admission there. First day he attended an orientation session, listened to his professor, Professor Sinha, who is one of the country's leading authority on retail and all that. He was very inspired. And at the end of the session, he said, sir, I have a business idea. First day, orientation session. Sir, I have a business idea. Beta bolo, what is it? I want to run a rickshaw company. A what? A rickshaw company. Okay, I'm listening. It was not judgmental. Tell me. How will you make money? So I listened to his whole story. This guy was very passionate. When you come across passionate people, you can see that everything is different about them. They're switched on. You know, so I'm talking about my student who's the photographer. So he will be so much into the camera, and you know, it's so much, people with passion, it's very easy to find out. So his professor listened to him, and he only said 2 words. He tapped on his shoulder and he said, son, it's possible. What did he say? Son, it's possible. हो सकता है. It's possible. While his friends made fun of him, तो IIM अहमदाबाद में आके रिक्शा की कंपनी स्टार्ट करेगा, देखो मैच नहीं मिलेगा, शादी नहीं होगी तेरी. People will ask, लड़का क्या काम करता है? लड़के की रिक्शा की कंपनी. Everybody laughed at him. But he was committed to his idea. 2 years ago, when Irfan Alam was on TV, the turnover of his company was 6 crore rupees. 2 years ago. I'm sure he's gone way up high. His organization is called Samman. He's enrolled unskilled rickshaw workers. His rickshaws have mobile phone chargers, chilled mineral water, newspapers. They deliver courier. When the rickshaw is free, he will not sit under the tree. He will deliver courier service. They have a centralized telephone system. You can ask the rickshaw to come to your home, just like you call a taxi. Fantastic business model, making a lot of money, making a difference on this planet, being acknowledged, being invited around the world to attend big forums, give talks. He's a celebrity now out of a simple idea of saying yes to a possibility. It is my sincere belief we are living in the imagination economy. Any idea is a good idea if the passion and the belief is in there. And our role as educators is to say just these 2 words, it's possible. It's possible. Not shut it out, it's possible, because anything is possible when there is desire. And I repeat once again what Socrates said, education is not the filling of a vessel, it is the sparkling of a flame. So when the flame is lit, there is no problem. But when the flame is not lit, even in an air-conditioned room with the best facilities in the world, you feel like, I'm not interested. Why? The flame is not lit. It's that simple. That is why I tell youngsters who are from very good backgrounds, I tell them, I said, some kid sitting in Bihar right now is working harder than you are. And this is the results are proving this. And I'll come to that very shortly, what the results are proving. So I like to say how all of this is possible. All the things that I discussed, which are, that's my mom, by the way, with the blue arrow on her head. And she spent 35 years in this teaching profession, and my first teacher. And kind of devotion and dedication, what it means to be a teacher, I learned from her. They are standing here with one of their celebrity students. So they're all very excited. They had alumni meet. The celebrity student came down. They were all very proud. Aapko pata hai, hamari student, she's on TV every day. She's become this and that. And then I could realize, wo jo planting the tree wali baat mein kar raha tha, the fruit is only going to come in a few years' time. You know, just like the most satisfying part of my job is 3 years later I get an email. Sir, वो जो एक बात आपने कही थी वो मेरे दिमाग में बैठ गई, वो मैंने वो कर लिया, हो गया. And that is worth $1 million, right? So how is all this possible? We talked about leaders learn, leaders lead, leaders laugh, leaders connect, leaders inspire, etc., etc. It is possible by one very simple thing. Do you love what you do? Do you love what you do? Are you passionate about what you do? Do you feel the impact of your profession? I asked this to doctors. I had a session with doctors recently. I asked them, do you feel the pain of the patient? Do you see the anxiety on the relatives outside? Do you see it or not? Because if you do, you're connected. You know what lies in your hands, what magic you have. And if you're away from that magic, you're losing out. So I would like to end with this final question. Do you love what you do? Because if you do, everything is easy. And if you don't, everything is difficult. काम करना हो तो निशाने हजार होते हैं. काम ना करना हो तो बहाने हजार होते हैं. And the only parameter to find out where you stand is, are you in love with what you do? People often ask me, that's my bag, that's my mobile office, everything is in there. I can set up an office everywhere I like, you know. I'm a human being who's oriented to travel. In my home, there's a separate section of the wardrobe that is a travel section. Nobody ever touches it. Within 10 minutes, I can depart to go wherever I have to go. 20 days in a month, I'm away. People ask me, you know, is it difficult at times, airports, railway stations, hotels, running from one place to another? Sometimes I've just delivered a speech in Bangalore to pack up, run to the airport, go to Kolkata, next morning again, it's a different thing. Simerjeet, is it not difficult? I said, it would be difficult if I don't love it. But because of the fact I'm obsessed with it, nothing is difficult in this equation. Nothing. And I've traveled over the past 4 years the length and breadth of this country, going out, reaching out to schools, NGOs, government offices, corporates, wherever that happens to be, wherever life takes me, I'm going. And what is keeping me going? The love for what I do. So I would like to leave this final thing in your mind, the final question, which is, where do I stand, guys? It's just, I've just have I just ended up here because of whatever reasons? Or is this something that is very close to my heart? Even if I've ended up here, what can I do today to make it more interesting for me and for others? What can I do today to make it more interesting for me and for others? Because of not doing that, then the damage is not only the students, damage is also mine. When I first got, my first job was with a major hotel company in the United States. I want to share an example with you. Employee psychology kya hoti hai? I was an employee for 11 years. First job especially, restless youngster wants to prove his worth to the world. So this major US company was my first job, and they put me as a management trainee. I thought I was fit to be assistant manager, straight out of, I've come from one of the best hotel schools in the world. Why are you putting me a management trainee? I learned all these things before. They said, no, 18 months, you're going to be a management trainee, which was very good by those standards, back then. But I thought, no, this company is not realizing my worth. So what I'm going to do? What do we do when we feel the organization is not realizing my worth? No, at that age, I didn't have the intelligence, true. At that age, I just had this raw desire to say, नहीं, इन्होंने मुझे ऐसे किया तो मैं जवाब ही फायर करूँगा. So company ने मेरा worth नहीं पहचाना तो अभी मैं, I will punish the company. What I will do? Punish the company. I'll punish them, They should know, a guy like me, the management trainee, come on, they're crazy. उसको बना दिया. अभी मैं इनको punish करूँगा. So I was like, not taking interest in my work, shirking, not giving my best, and okay, disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. Company को मैं damage कर रहा हूँ ना. 18 months later, when I joined the company, turnover was $2.5 billion. 18 months later, company's turnover is $6.5 billion. तो मुझे लगा यार नुकसान तो कंपनी का तो हुआ नहीं. The only damage that happened in those 18 months was my own. Was my own. It's not what you do, it's who you become in the process. That's very important. Be very careful about this. It's not what you do, it is who you become in the process. That's why youngsters ask me, sir, उस कंपनी में पैसा अच्छा है पर वहाँ challenges नहीं, कहाँ वहाँ जॉब लूँ या यहाँ जॉब लूँ या challenges ज़्यादा. I say go here. It's not what you get, it's who you become. Because who you become, nobody can take it away from you ever. It's yours. You can take it anywhere and be successful. A person who knows how to be successful will take his skills into any damn thing and become successful at that. While a person who's tuned himself to be like that, I'm not going to give life my 100% because life is not giving me 100%. So this is going to be their approach to life. Are there any questions coming to your mind at this point of time? Anything you'd like to share?
When are you coming back?
I don't know, God willing, soon. Anything coming to your mind? Any questions? Any experiences?
I have a question.
Sure.
An experience here, it was very nice. It was very, very less of written word and more spoken words. It was hit very hard, like here to the heart, and to the brain.
Okay.
So it moved very quickly. We didn't come to know it, finished so fast.
Thank you.
I think it took over.
That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, just my final parting words.
But I will ask in detail.
Okay, I'll do that. So, we were talking about, as you have rightly displayed the passion to move forward, there are others who will complain proper resources are not available. They'll always have a complaint. For those who can't get what they want, they'll have an excuse, right? But if the desire is not there, this is what happens in organizations. And you might have seen it on traveling on Facebook. You might have seen it. That's where I got it from, right? Now, I won't name the organization. They're also my clients. But this is what happens. You might have the best resources in the world, but the desire is not there. So the best resources will go waste. But if you have the desire, to do something, then everything seems possible. You always find a way. You always find a way. So I think I would leave you with this big, powerful question. What scale, where is my level of desire? Because the reason why I showed my mom's photograph, and the reason why I'm showing this guy's photograph, if you know who he is. Yes, Mr. Anand Kumar from Bihar. Super 30. Have you heard of Super 30? Yes. And, year after year, all 30 kids are getting selected. Majority, a very strong percentage. Laborer's son, rickshaw puller's son, farmer's son, he's making that happen. what is his motivation of being a teacher? That's why I asked you. His motivation of being a teacher is, he got an offer from Cambridge University. And he was not able to go there due to financial reasons. That day he committed, he said, I will do something in my life to ensure nobody in my area should leave his education for the lack of money. So he's creating a success story. I've seen many of his interviews. I'm looking forward to meeting him personally also. But the main, out of his entire story, there's one thing that's coming out is, he is driven. It's not just, zariya nahi hai paisa bana, it's not a profession. He is driven. And I always talk to young entrepreneurs. When I talk to young entrepreneurs, जिन्होंने अपना business start किया, they say, sir, paisa, how can we increase the turnover? I said, we'll come to that. Because here's what I believe. Money is a byproduct of doing something great. Always is. Recently, it's the first time in Indian history, a painter, Indian painter, bought a house in New Delhi worth 100 crore rupees. It was in Economic Times yesterday. 100 crore worth rupees house bought by a painter. Can you believe this is the economy we're living in? It allows painters to earn that much money. But if you put the passion into it, everything becomes easier after that. So with that, I say thank you very much. I hope I was able to get a few points across and leave you with a few thinking reference points, the questions. Because once the questions are there bubbling inside, I think the next step becomes easier. Thank you for being a very cooperative and very attentive audience, and God bless you all. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Thank you.